Oh my goodness. Well, how's everybody doing? Well, now that the show is over, I can be doing my videos in a consistent basis until our next performance, which will occur in late July on the 28th. Now, the play was a success. We had a packed house and we raised a lot of money. And everybody loved it. But the process before we got to the end result, baby, I went through it. I had to fire two stage managers, fire four actors. Then 2 days before we opened, another actor dropped out because we have financial disputes over salaries. And then I had to jump in myself and take a role. But you know what? This happens all the fucking time in theater. I'm 50 years old, and this happens all the time. Nothing in theater or the process, whether it's amateur, community, or Broadway. It is the same process. It is the same alchemy. And I was just so stressed, you know. But I want to thank you. Many of you send me presents. Many of you send me chocolates. Some of you have sent me money. Many of you have sent me roses and flowers. You know, you know. I want to thank all of you, especially I got this a couple of days ago, so they're beginning to almost die, by the Lindstedt family, who sent me this bouquet of roses for opening night as a bamba. Yeah. And many of you have sent so many other gifts and so many letters of support. I thank you. You know, the show was fantastic. It looks like, and now, well, we have a little bit of a bad news. Is that the next performance is on the 28th, and it's in Teaneck, New Jersey. But unfortunately, the place that we were supposed to perform on the 20th of July was closed down because of tax evasion. Could you believe that? Oh, I get it. I get it. So now I gotta find another venue. I haven't told the actors yet. Ooh. But it was a success. And I'm trying to put the pictures and the videos up. But you all know, I always have a problem. Saturn in my third house of communications and computers. This is my Achilles heel. So it might be delayed, and we're about to go into a Mercury retrograde because Mars is retrograde. So things might become severely delayed. And so take these couple of weeks that's coming all the way until the 20th of August with a grain of salt. Take it easy. Don't make major plans and organize things that are important and significant for you. The signing of document papers, negotiating deals. Wait until late September to do all of that. Don't do it now because most of the planets are retrograde, and that's why things are moving so slowly. Okay? So that was and I also want to thank many people who have been donating money. Please, I encourage you to continue to donate, even though we've met the target goal. I don't want to close that campaign and start a new one because I don't want to lose the comments and statements from many of you who have put on that GoFundMe page. So even though the goal of 1,500 has been overmet, I want to reach actually 10,000. So if you can help me reach 10,000 in the GoFundMe page, that would be fantastic. I'm expecting at least a year or a year and a half to raise this money so we can take the play to actual off-Broadway. We have done tremendous work. Again, this could not have happened without you and because of you and your monies. And the readings, you know. I have to do a reading for Fumi. I have to do a reading for Ebella. And a reading for a couple of other people who have already paid and deposited money on my Cash App. So, again, we're back in business. If you want a personal reading, just call me, 347-485-6258. I was told that I got to advertise, even though I don't like to advertise because I like to just focus on the videos because I have a website for that. but my management is telling me to do it. And a lot of you are actually telling me that it was a good idea to put my name out there and actually say that I am available for reading and consultations. So I've done that. So without further ado, today we are going to talk about the Aquarius and Virgo. Many people have been asking for this combination, besides Aquarius and Aquarius, where I last finished. So today we are going to go with incompatibility of signs. And of course, I got my drink on. This is, again, this is Country Club. See this? The camera keeps moving. You see it? It's called Country Club. It says frambuesa. That's Spanish for strawberry. And then fresa is cherry. Frambuesa is strawberries. Fresa is cherries. And it's Dominican, you know, even though Country Club is not Dominican, it was another one. It was changed. The companies have changed. So I used that with vodka, and it's delicious. Very, very sweet. Very, very sweet. I'm going to go for a bike ride after I'm done with this reading. Mutable earth and fixed air. Where do we see this combination in nature? And what does it mean? And how is it translated in reference to the human personality and ego? Well, for one thing, here we go again. Virgo represents Earth, but it represents the beautiful aspect of Earth. The roses I just showed you, the outward expression, the alchemy, the brewing of Mother Earth belongs to Taurus. Because the earth is a mother, it's a womb. And then things come out of it. Trees, plants, minerals, vegetables, fruits, everything comes out of the earth. So it is the earth birthing forward. That's the element of Taurus. Which is why the moon in Taurus is in its exaltation. Because the earth is giving birth to everything that we have, from the flowers, the trees, the rocks, everything, the food that we eat, the medicines that we use to heal the body, everything comes from the earth. This is the gestation of Taurus, the alchemy happening within the process. The end result is the absolute beauty of that alchemy that occurred in its gestation period. And this is expressed by Virgo, the mutable earth, the end result of the alchemy of Taurus. So, understand that Virgo represents an alchemy that's continuously transforming itself and taking form and variety. So then, when we look at Aquarius, fixed air, we see a personality and a behavioral dynamic that doesn't change. Not so much in its core constitution, but in its outward expression. The Aquarian can change direction and opinions and appear like he or she is changeable and adaptable. No, that's only a simulation. The Taurian personality and ego, especially when it comes to its intellectual constitution, will never change. In order for a peace and a harmony to occur between a Virgo and an Aquarius, will entail or means that the Virgo man or the Virgo woman would have to adapt to the Aquarian, because the Aquarian man especially the Aquarian man. Not so much the Aquarian woman. We're going to talk about her in part 2, but the Aquarian man is not going to compromise or make concessions or provisions at all, which would require a questioning of his philosophy concerning freedom and concerning his autonomy or his sense of individuality. Okay? So if that is the case, then we are looking at a person that can be very, very stubborn, uncompromising. And this type of man, because we don't see this expression of the dynamic so much with the female of Aquarius, but we do see it with the male. And with the male, I need to use the rest of the time to discuss that. Whereas with the female, I will go into full depth of discussion in part 2. Because that's how vastly different they both are. Aquarian man and an Aquarian female. Just like Leo, the opposite polarity of Aquarius. The woman that's a Leo is 100% distinctly different than the Leo man. And these things have to discuss and specifically and out. So when we're dealing with the Aquarian man with a Virgo woman, the dynamic is vastly and distinctly different than if it is a Virgo woman. I mean, a Virgo man and an Aquarius woman. Totally different dynamic. Almost like separate signs altogether. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So when we're dealing with the Aquarian man with a Virgo woman, the one that will be the boss will be the Virgo woman. Now, going back to my reference in nature, Virgo represents all the end results of the gestation of Taurus in human nature. Right? There is a sense of innocence and a sense of harvest. Okay? So then where will Aquarius fit in our analogy in its comparison to nature and how we can relate this to the human personality and ego of Aquarius? Well, very simple. For this, we need to go into a specific example concerning nature. Do you all know the story of Mount Vesuvius in Italy? Mount Vesuvius. You remember the story of Pompeii, the volcano that erupted and killed everybody and destroyed the Minoan and the Mycenaean culture. We're going, pre-Hellenistic period in Europe. Okay? Santorini in Italy is, there was a volcano there. It's no longer there. You see the remnants of what was that volcano. It's absolutely beautiful. Again, I just came from Italy a couple of months ago. Absolutely beautiful. The tears well up in your eyes at the magnificent topography of that region of our planet. How beautiful the water is, and the mountain. Again, just a phenomenology of nature. We can ascribe that to Virgo in its fixity. The volcano of Mount Vesuvius is no longer there. It imploded after its big hurrah. But it is a magnificent spectacle, remnant of what once was the most deadliest volcanoes that destroyed the classical world at that time. So if we want to ascribe Aquarius and Virgo, we will compare it to nature, to a volcano that has collapsed. Its destruction was inevitable, but the aftermath was serene beauty. We can say the same thing about forest fires. Look at Southern California and now Northern California, where the brush fires burn right across the state and destroy all vegetations. People become horrified at the destruction of nature. But what people don't realize is that when that happens, what grows back becomes more plush, more fertile, and more green and more vibrant than ever before. Because fire purifies. So all those fires happening in California, just destroying everything in sight. Give it a year or two, it'll all regrow back because nature knows how to reinvent herself. The same thing can be said with Virgo and Aquarius concerning this combination. So how does this come about? Went down the wrong pipe. So, how do we make consensus and provisions of this concerning compatibility? Because it is considered incompatibility of signs for a reason. We have air and earth, which causes an elemental square. So they're already not mixing. And then you have the modality. You have a fixed and immutable. The fixed and the mutable can work. We know that the Aquarian man is not going to change. He ain't. He ain't going to change. So it is the Virgo woman that's going to have to make the concessions and the provisions and actually accept the change if she wants to sustain the relationship and fight for it. Now, the motherfucker might not be worth it. But if Miss Virgo is in love or has piqued her eyes on this very sexy man, because Aquarian men are sexy. You know, there's something about them that's irresistibly sexy, you know, and sensual. Remember, they were ruled by Saturn in the classical world before Uranus was discovered in 1841. So, and Capricorn and Saturn ruled Earth, and Earth is sensual. So you see this sensuality in the Aquarian man that finds him quietly attractive and irresistible to women and a few gents. So, and that was going to pique the Virgo woman's interest. But what's really going to whet her appetite is his conversations, his intellect, and his ability to be impartial, unbiased, but at the same time be on point. Nobody does it better with the exception of Libra, like Aquarius. Aquarius will put it all into perspective for you. His brilliance lies in the far-reaching imaginations of his intellect and his thoughts. They truly are revolutionary. They truly are revolutionary. Ahead of the times. So, how do you tone that down? Because Aquarius is cosmic, otherworldly. He's never really present, believe it or not. He's never really present, not emotionally, not psychologically, but only mentally. The only time that he becomes emotionally invested is when he's having sex. And that only is a simulation. It's not a full integration or surrendering of the soul to another human being. The Aquarian man, although he's quite capable of doing that, really doesn't do that. It might take him a lifetime for him to get to that point. It might take him a lifetime for him to get to that point. And after that happens, it'll be duly noticed. It'll be duly noticed. So, when we're dealing with the basic nuts and bolts of a relationship between an Aquarius man and a Virgo girl, what will be the glue, you might be thinking or asking yourself, that will keep this combination together? There's everything in the book that suggests that they should not be compatible. But here's something that you may not have known about these two. First of all, Mercury rules intelligence, right? Among other things. Every planet has is a low octave, but also represents a higher octave. So, if we're dealing with the moon, the higher octave of the moon is Neptune. The higher octave of Mars is Pluto. The higher octave of the moon can also be Pluto in certain signs, but mostly Neptune in other signs. The higher octave of Venus is also Neptune, but only on a particular sign. And Venus rules two signs, but this higher octave applies to one sign of the two that Venus rules when we're talking about esoteric astrology. What about Mercury, which I haven't mentioned? What's the higher octave of Mercury? Uranus. And Uranus rules what? Aquarius. So there is a mythology between Mercury and Uranus, between Virgo and Aquarius, or Gemini and Aquarius. And the mythology between Mercury and Uranus, both of them work in tandem together. Okay? So, in a way, this combination can actually work because the mythology between Uranus and Mercury supports a mutual connection that implies support and cooperation and sharing of resources. So what Virgo doesn't understand, Aquarius will shed light on. What stumbles Aquarius in his intellectual assessment can be clarified by Virgo. So in this respect, they share an intellectual fluidity that can allow them to develop a relationship based on intellectual pursuits, intellectual commonality, and also intellectual goals that they can work towards achieving together. Albeit, the connection between Virgo and Aquarius will not be an emotional one. The Virgo woman, although she's deeply emotional in the inside, she's not emotionally expositive, if I can corrupt the term of the language. There's no emotional exposition with the Virgo woman. It embarrasses her. It makes her feel uncomfortable. Not the feelings themselves, but to express them. Aquarius also. So both of them can live a simulated existence of love that's not really there. Or, if they're far more evolved than that, they can tackle it together and discover it to their own self-alchemy and their own self-discovery, which requires a certain degree of surrendering, which doesn't come easy with Virgo or with Aquarius. And we're done with this combination. Part 1.